What is good, losers? Welcome back to another video, and welcome back to this incredibly inconsistent channel of mine where the topic of each video may not be the same as the last one. So yeah, that's something you gotta deal with, and I don't know why it happens, but it does. But if you've seen the title and thumbnail of this video, today we're talking about more boxing stuff, and more importantly, we're going to be discussing some of the pros and cons of the winning VL-B hand wraps from the company winning. No shit. Hashtag Japanese people. But yeah, we're going to be going over some of those, the pros and cons. And the reason I'm making this video is mainly because there was like one video on these hand wraps on the internet, and I figured I'd like throw my opinion out there because my opinion is just that important and valuable to the people on the internet. But as far as I'm concerned, there's only one video on YouTube that covers these hand wraps. I think that's the one from C-Squared Boxing or something. But I mean, like, hey, there could be like tens of thousands of videos on these hand wraps, like on Pornhub, and I'm just not aware of them. But as far as I'm concerned, YouTube does not have a lot of videos on these hand wraps. And if anyone is planning on investing some money in these expensive ass hand wraps, like, I think it's important to have at least a couple of opinions out there. So I've taken it upon myself to like throw my shitty opinion on the internet. So here we are. So let's start off on a positive note. The pros. So I think for pros, it can be mainly boiled down to the quality of comfort as well as the design. So, and I guess like durability is also one of the pros, but it's also a con. Like, I'll talk about it more later. But first of all, comfort. I think going deeper into comfort, I think that could be due to a few factors, I guess. The first one being that there is a slight stretch in these hand wraps. As you can see, it's a little bit more stretchy than your usual cotton hand wraps from like big brands like Tidal, Fairtex, Twins, or whatever. Because I have used hand wraps from those brands, and the stretch is just a little bit more different on these hand wraps than it is on something like made of cotton like these. The hand wraps here feel like it's like a blend of like cotton and I really don't know what it's a blend of, but it does feel like it's a hybrid of two types of material, and that's really where it gets that stretchy feel from. And because there is that like slight stretch to it, it does conform to your hand a little bit better when you make a fist and when it has impact on like anything, to be honest, like if you're like hitting a heavy bag or whatever. But I do feel that these, because of the stretch, there is that extra level of comfort because it does conform to your hand a lot better than something you would use that's like made of cotton, for example. Another factor that does contribute to its comfort is its length. These are around 400, no, these aren't around, they are 450 centimeters, but I say around because of the extra stretch. Like, of course, it's going to be a little longer than that if you stretch the hand wrap. So that's a good thing because that just means you can get a little bit more wraps out of it around your knuckles and around your wrist. And yeah, more comfort, more support. Nice. Next, what the hell was I talking about? Right, the design. So I believe these only come in white, or at least the VL-Bs are only sold in white. Like, yeah, there really isn't much choice. Like, just get the white ones because yeah, don't have to really bother picking. And I would say that the white does look pretty fucking cool. I would say that like when you start wrapping these hand wraps around your hand, it does sort of feel like not really it feels like, but it looks like some pro stuff that you would see. It kind of like it sort of like imitates the the type of hand wraps that the pros would wear, like with gauze and tape. But in this case, it's really just a hand wrap and Velcro. But it does sort of imitate that look. So if that's something you're looking for, because not gonna lie, like, I think that's pretty fucking cool. Like, it does look pretty goddamn dope. That is something that you can take into account. It does sort of imitate that professional look. And if you've watched like Hajime no Ippo, like the hand wraps are like fully white, and I guess like when you wrap these up, it does sort of look like that because for some reason the hand wraps in like Hajime no Ippo don't have like the brand thingy. So I would say that these do imitate that look quite well. So if you're trying to cosplay like Ippo from the anime, then these are definitely a viable choice because they just kind of look like the ones from the anime. What else do I have? Okay, but by the way, if you don't know what the fuck I'm looking at, I'm basically just looking at this list I made of some of the pros and cons. And there were some pauses because like I'm trying to read, and like I write really small, so I'm like squinting. But now that I have it up close, I can read better. So what else do I have here? Yeah, durability. I think one of the best things about these hand wraps is definitely the Velcro strap at the end. Like most Velcro you see on like maybe cheaper hand wraps, the Velcro starts fraying after like 1 or 2 uses. But even after 2 months of like very consistent use, I go to the gym like 3-4 times a week, and I use these hand wraps quite often. And I also wash them a lot. Like even then, the Velcro hasn't frayed at all, and it's been holding up pretty well. And yeah, I guess that's one thing you can really praise Winning for. I mean, yeah, good Velcro, what can I say? And I think like the Velcro is really underrated when it comes to hand wraps, because like the Velcro is really the thing that keeps it all together. So yeah, if you're really into that like good Velcro shit, and if you're looking at something that's like Velcro that's gonna last a long time, then these are definitely something that you can look into investing. That you can look in investing for. Okay, sorry, Jesus Christ. All right, moving on. I think that's really all I have to say. For the pros, it's really hard to explain what the feel is like, unless you've tried these on for yourself. But as far as I'm concerned, like once you fully wrap your hands, it does have this like soft-ish feel that I'm really not sure if that makes any sense if you haven't tried these, but yeah, it has a soft feel, mainly because it sort of imitates that cotton and gauze hybrid type feel. So yeah, that's really all I can say. Let's move on to some of the cons of this hand wrap. And I know I said the durability is really good for Velcro. I can't say the same about the actual hand wrap itself. Like if there's one way to describe it, it's like the phrase, the wear and tear is real. Like I think after like the first wash, like I usually just I wash these in the washing machine. I throw it in like a fishnet bag, and I just dump it into the washing machine. But even after the first wash, like this shit gets wrinkly really quickly, and some of the cotton actually starts fraying like after the first couple of uses. Like I can't even show the camera because it's very minimal, like, and it's also like it's like fully white, so it's really hard to see. But you can probably see that like there's some like cotton bits coming up, and it's not exactly fully even. And I guess that happens to like hand wraps eventually, but I wouldn't expect it to happen on these hand wraps so quickly. But it does. But that's mainly because of the material. Like, of course, this cotton's gauze hybrid is definitely not going to be as durable as something that's made of fully cotton, and that's just something that you have to accept. That the life of these hand wraps isn't exactly going to be like crazy long, but goddamn, these Velcro are definitely going to last like way longer than the actual hand wraps itself. So that's something to take into account. And also you have to take into account that these things are fucking expensive. This is probably going to cost like 1.5 to 1. Maybe 2 times more expensive than what you would get for your usual hand wraps. So that's also something you have to take into consideration. And also added with the fact that these don't last as long, also take that into consideration, whether or not you think it's worth the investment. For me, I think it's definitely worth the investment because this shit feels hella good. So I personally don't mind like replacing these every like once in a while. And these haven't actually like fully worn out yet. They're just really like the cotton is just fraying a lot, and it's also just really wrinkly. So yeah, make sure you take care of them and sort of straighten them out after you put them in the wash. I use like a hanging thing, like a clothing hanger, and I use that to straighten it out and sort of like iron it after they're done washing it. After they're done washing, but after I roll them up and use them the second time, they start getting a little wrinkly. So the lifetime of these hand wraps is also something to take into consideration. And also because they start breaking down really easily, I think that deserves to be a con. Is there anything else? No, I really think that's all the cons. The cons of this hand wrap. Although if you really think about it, like if you're paying for the quality, but that quality doesn't exactly last that long, but the comfort is real, and it does feel really good on your hands, and I guess you can sort of balance things out, see whether or not it's worth it. But I definitely think that these are definitely worth trying regardless. And I mean, also it's like winning, guys. Come on. And there's even Japanese on the back. Holy shit. This really just means like magic tape in Japanese. So it's not anything like too crazy. And and it says like Rayon Japan. I don't really know what that means, but like, yeah. There's also that there. But yeah, in conclusion, these are probably the best pair of hand wraps I'll ever own, and I'll probably keep buying them because they are just simply the best. And yeah, if you want to look like the pros or some Hajime no Ippo character, then go ahead, buy these because they look fucking cool on your hands. And yeah, they're white as well, so I guess another con is that they probably get really dirty really easily, like if you're like dropping your hand wraps on the floor a lot, and if your sweat, like if you don't wash them very often, like your sweat might stay there and it's gonna start looking like yellow and shit, and it's gonna start looking like you pissed on them or something. And yeah, like the color white isn't it something that like lasts long in terms of like sporting goods or sports equipment that you sweat in. So if that's something you care about, maybe don't get these hand wraps because they only come in white. But in conclusion, these are just probably the best pair of hand wraps I've ever owned, and definitely worth a try. So yeah, that really concludes this random shit talk of these hand wraps, because once again, there's only been like one video on these hand wraps on the internet. So yeah, I guess there's two now, and hopefully some future consumers can look at these two videos and maybe the 500 videos on Pornhub, and yeah, make a decision on whether or not you want to buy these and whether or not you think it's worth it. And with that being said, that's really about it. I'll catch you guys later, I guess. Bye.